What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be talking all about long shots in Call of Duty Vanguard, and I'm going to be sharing my favorite long shot spots on every single map in the game, with the one exception being Shipment, since that's just not a good long shot map for most of the guns in the game. Now keep in mind, I'm not sharing every single potential long shot line of sight in the game, I'm just showing the ones that tend to work in most situations. So you're looking down high traffic areas, or areas where you're going to be getting consistent long shot kills. Now in the background, I'm going to start it off with the really basic, easy maps. For these ones, most of these lines of sight will be no surprise. There are much better and more interesting spots coming though. The reason I want to show the basic spots first is I want to talk about the long shot distances with every weapon in the game, so you know how far away you have to be in order for that long shot kill to count, so you can get your camo challenges done. So let's just go through these distances, starting it off from closest to farthest away. With shotguns, you have to be 13 meters away from your target for a long shot. For launchers as well as pistols, it's 20 meters. Then after that, we're going to be stretching out to 30 meters for SMGs. After that, assault rifles, LMGs, and marksman rifles are all the same at 38 meters. And then finally, for sniper rifle long shots, you have to be 50 meters away from your target. So just keep that in mind as you're seeing the spots in the background here. I did this in Kill Confirm so you can see the exact distance on many of the spots that I'm showing for you guys. If it's over 50 meters, it'll work for sniper rifles. If not, it won't work for sniper rifles, but it will work for every other gun in the game. Now, a few other tips while we go through the basic spots in the background that I don't really need to describe for you guys. This first step may seem obvious to a lot of people, but some people might not be aware of this or might not have thought of this. If you're struggling with a particular gun for long shots, it's often going to be in your best interest to go into hardcore game modes. This just makes it so your gun is going to be a lot more lethal at range. So guns like SMGs that can really struggle in core modes when you start to stretch out the range, now in hardcore, you just have to hit 1 or 2 bullets and you'll get yourself a kill, even at long distances. Additionally, there's often long shot areas that don't really provide you with any cover or nothing to mount on, and mounting can be an incredibly useful tip because it essentially eliminates idle sway, and then it also significantly reduces the recoil of your gun, which again, for a gun that has high recoil, long shots might be really difficult for you most of the time, so mounting helps a lot with this. And this leads me to the next tip, which is use deployable cover as your field upgrade. Deployable cover is great because you can put it anywhere. You can find a spot that normally doesn't have cover and would normally be a terrible spot to go for long shots. You can throw that deployable cover down. Now you have cover that you can take from your enemies. And on top of this, you can mount on deployable cover, which allows you to reduce that recoil significantly. So there you have it, just a few really basic tips that are going to make long shots a lot easier for yourself. Now let's continue through these long shot spots, and as you can see so far, they've all been very basic, like I've said. Now let's dive into at least some of the more interesting maps and spots, because I see this common misconception thrown around that you can only reasonably get long shots on a small handful of maps. I actually believe there are only maybe 2 to 3 maps that I would consider to be quite bad for getting long shots, and with the rest, you just have to get a little bit creative sometimes. So let's dive in midway through Desert Siege here. This window is a great long shot spot, but what about a counter spot to that? If you spawn back here, what I love doing is jumping on this truck, coming right back to this corner here, and this gives you an amazing little line of sight over top of that. This is an excellent long shot spot, and if somebody's got you spawn trapped, you may as well take advantage of that and get your long shot kills. Next up, over on this side of the map, fairly basic. You can mount on any of these areas. There's so many different long shot angles on this map. This is one of the easy maps, but you can lay under the truck as well to get those kills. And then this one right here, I have shown it in a previous video. If you hop up onto this wall, you actually get a great line of sight across this area, and especially in hardcore game modes, people may have a hard time picking you off from here or like noticing where you are. This is just a really unexpected spot, and then from this, you can jump back over toward the awning area, which allows you to just open up a few other angles on this side of the map. I was just trying to show you some alternatives to the basic lines of sight on this map. After that, we've got Castle, and Castle is an incredible map for long shots. It's actually one of my favorites. You can see here, if you sit back in this spawn area, you can peek over toward the balcony from multiple locations. There's a few little jump spots you might have to do to get to some of the more unique areas where people won't be expecting you. Or you can just come up onto the more basic spots like this. It's very, very simple to get lines of sight across. I like this spot right here because you can mount, so that really reduces your recoil. And even with SMGs, you can pick people off across there, at least in hardcore game modes. Then from up in this area here, a lot of people don't realize you can actually get a line of sight right over to that window there, which is an excellent long shot, and they don't normally expect that. Then, for those that haven't seen this before, I know this has been sort of a secret. A lot of casual players don't know that you can get up here, but you absolutely can. And this is an incredible place to be if you want to get your long shot kills. You can watch over almost all of the map from this position here. And another thing is, from this particular corner of the rooftop, this gets you an excellent line of sight toward that window. And if you're backed up far enough, that's a long shot even with a sniper rifle, which is great to see. Now, just an alternative to that, if you have somebody spawn trapping you from up in that window, you can just pick them off from back here. Excellent long shot spot, and you can mount on this, which is a nice bonus. Then a spot I shared that goes over to the B domination area of the map down low there. This is an excellent little line of sight that is a long shot even with sniper rifles, and they almost never see this one coming. And then, of course, from this window up in the tower over here, yeah, it's great for long shots across the middle of the map. I'm sure everybody knew that, but this is also great for picking those people off in the window across the way. It's just that reverse line of sight compared to what I shared earlier. Next up, let's get into Decoy. And Decoy looks like it should have a lot of great long shot spots, but it's actually pretty difficult to get beyond 38 meters in a practical area where you're going to get a lot of traffic. Now, this one I have shared before. This is great to get up on the truck and pick off those second story people. Then across this lane right here, this is also excellent either way you are. However, one of my favorite long shot spots is for those people that will head glitch on the truck. And all you have to do is come back to this area right here. And if you're backed right up to the wall, this will count as a long shot with everything but sniper rifles. However, if you're using SMGs, you can actually move up a little bit and mount on that, and it will still count as a long shot kill. Now finally, back in this area here, if you stay all the way back here and just go prone, you get a line of sight to a nice little high traffic area right there, or you can jump up to the windshield of this Jeep, and if you get them just right, you can actually peek over this wall and pick those people off. You can also just shoot right through that metal and lose very little bullet damage. Next, we'll quickly cover Das Haus. If you're backed right up to the wall and they're backed right up to that wall, it's 50 meters, but that's rare, so this is just not a good sniper long shot map. But it's great for basically any other gun in the game if you just use this lane. This is one of the most common long shot farming spots in the entire game. However, there is a little alternative here that will work as long as you're backed up far enough, and if they're coming through that doorway, you can get a long shot spot with everything but sniper rifles here. Next up, Hotel Royal is surprisingly really good for long shots as well. The first one here I have shared with you guys. I really like this long shot spot, and I incorrectly said this doesn't work for sniper rifles. It actually does. This is beyond 50 meters, and this will get you very consistent long shot kills. And then on the other side, it's not quite as good. You need a deployable cover for this, but if you put this deployable cover down, you can peek over top of this wall here. And again, incredibly easy long shots and consistent long shots. Then along this hallway, I just wanted to point out this is exactly 38 meters if you're mounted on this and the enemy's mounted on the other side. So that's great for everything but sniper rifles. And then finally, a really underrated long shot spot is actually in this washroom right here. You can just mount up on this wall and pick off the people that are going to be coming through that choke point. Next, let's get into Dome, and with this one, if you back yourself into this corner right here, it gets you an amazing little long shot right over to that common balcony spot that people love camping in, so that's excellent. And then just to the left of that, you have access to the other balcony over there as well, which gives you another long shot kill. Now, an alternative that's a lot more expected is to just back yourself in this corner, and this even works for sniper rifles, but people are going to expect you to be here. An alternative is to sort of head glitch yourself over this ramp across the way. That's 50 meters if you back yourself up enough, and if they're backed off. However, you could also come all the way to this edge here, and there is a little spot you can mount on, which gives you a nice line of sight to the doorway as well as the balcony above. And this just leaves us with a really common camping spot up here. This is exactly where they'll expect you to be, but at the end of the day, it's a great long shot spot. Now, moving on to Bocage, if you have people camping up in that window there, if you back yourself all the way to this area here, you can actually just look over top of the wall through the foliage. You're really hard to pick out from here, and you can easily pick them off for an easy sniper long shot. Or, surprisingly, this works quite well. Just lay right in the middle of this area, or maybe put a deployable cover down. Another great long shot area. Then if you're mid-map and the enemies are spawning back in that area over there, you can come and look right between this crack here for an easy long shot, or mantle up next to you and you can mount on this area right here. And again, you just pick those people off as they're coming out of spawn around those trees. Next, in this area here, you do have to back yourself right up to these barrels, but if you're here and they come up to those straw bales right there, you can just pick them off, and that's exactly 38 meters, which is excellent. You have to make sure you're backed off enough, though, to make that happen. Then obviously we have the reverse of that spot I shared earlier. You could just lay down here or set up a deployable cover along this lane, or you can swing wide into this area right here, pick the people off that are in the second story of the middle building. And then finally, if you just set yourself up in this area right here, you can pick people off that are either camping there or coming out of spawn from that particular corner of the map. Now after that, we've got Eagle's Nest, and from this area here, this is one of the most common long shot areas. It will be a long shot to the window or the people that come around that area, or you could just mount yourself on this wall and pick the people off coming through that doorway. Again, these are all going to be long shot spots. As for the reverse, you can crouch in this area here. You just have a little bit more concealment here, and you can pick people off across that lane. Or a great counter spot to the really common long shot area there, instead of sitting up in the window, which is exactly what they'd expect, you can actually jump onto this little half wall area here and shoot through the shutters and pick them off from a little bit further back. This is also a sniper long shot. And then finally, along this lane here, if you back yourself all the way up to this back wall, this will count for a long shot with everything aside from sniper rifles. After that, we have Gavutu, and Gavutu has a ton of potential long shot areas. I'm just going to pick out a small handful of the more effective ones. The first one is fairly obvious. You're going to be setting yourself up on the middle lane. You can jump up on this rock to be a little bit less expected at least, or you can just do the basic thing and come up to this window here and pick anybody off that comes through that middle lane. Or something that's really interesting that may end up getting patched in the future, but at least for now it works. You can put a deployable cover right here, and if you manage to jump yourself on top of it, it does take a little bit of practice to do that, you can actually look right through this little crack here, and they will never see this one coming. This is going to give you free long shot kills all game long. Now, obviously, you can also get lines of sight from the other side, shooting back in this direction. I don't like this spot quite as much because there's just no cover here for you to use. So my favorite alternative for the other side of the map is to post up in this room right here and just back yourself off with the window open, and you can pick all the people off that come to that extremely common piece of cover that people will go to. This is a very consistent spot for long shots. Next, we have Numa Numa, which isn't great for long shots, but I just want to point out from the palm tree up here, you get a nice line of sight across that area of the map, and you can get long shots from there, or from the other palm tree if you walk up this area. Gives you a nice long shot spot toward the middle of the map. Obviously, once they figure out you're up here, you're just a free kill for them, so this is more about just the element of surprise. However, a fairly consistent long shot spot is actually right here behind this log. You get a nice line of sight right into that choke point in the cave. After that, we have sub-pens, which is pretty solid for long shots. You could just hang out way at the back of the map here. You can mount on this railing and pick people off across those lanes. Additionally, toward the middle of the map, this is a great way to get a nice line of sight up toward the top control area, and they don't normally expect you there. Or if you're coming from the other side of the map, I love just going all the way back to the corner spawn over here and just laying prone and picking people off right there. Additionally, if you jump up onto this railing, if you've got a lot of traffic on the left side of the map here, if you jump on the railing, you can look in between these torpedoes and pick people off through that lane. Or just lingering back in this spawn area can get you lots of long shot kills as well, just depending on how you position yourself. And this is just scratching the surface with sub-pens. There's a lot of other potential long shot spots. These are just the more consistent ones that I found. After that, let's quickly cover Tuscan, which is unfortunately one of the worst long shot maps in the game. You really only have this side lane over here to get long shots in, and even then, you're probably not going to be getting many sniper long shots, but you can at least get long shots with other guns here. Similarly, the radar map is not very good for long shots, but one area I have found that actually can work fairly consistently is coming back to this corner where these sandbags are, and then just spraying and praying through the fence and the wall there. You'll often be able to get kills, especially in hardcore modes. You may want to use piercing vision for this particular spot, but you can get long shots by doing that. And finally, this just leaves us with Oasis, which is an amazing long shot map. You can hang out back in this corner from multiple angles to pick off anybody that's coming through that particular area, or you can come up into the windows on either side of the map and pick off long shots from there. This one right here I really like because that's a common place that people will go, and you can mount up on this so you have very little recoil, and they almost never see that coming. Or a spot that I have shared earlier, you can hop up on this destructible wall, get a nice little head glitch over to that window for a nice sniper long shot. Then you can get onto this truck from right here, pick the people off that are camping behind that wall very, very easily. Just an alternative to that, this is quite interesting. You can jump on this destructible wall area and pick them off from right there as well. And then finally, especially if you're playing Domination, the B Domination flag is right in this location. And if you just back yourself off all the way to the back of the map, you can easily pick them off as they try to capture the B flag. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for all of my favorite long shot spots on every map in the game aside from Shipment. Hopefully you guys were able to get some value out of this. Hopefully you learned a few spots that you were unaware of previously, and this will help you get those long shot camos a little more efficiently. Now, I am interested to hear from you guys in the comment section below. What are your favorite maps to be getting long shots on for your camos in Call of Duty Vanguard? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.